So, then any viable, effective, methods I'm offering up for alleviating the tyranny, and pointing to the fact that we absolutely and unequivocally need God in the mix. Okay, so anything that we do that alleviates, relieves us from this financial tyranny, okay, is what it is. This is what they're doing to us, and it's not okay. It's not okay with me, any decent, righteous human beings out there, even if they're not experiencing the tyranny firsthand. It's your brother or sister, and if you don't care about them, why should God care about you? I mean, the worst case scenario for evil people is that God turns out to be just like you, and He does business just like you. He says, "Well, you've believed in subjugating and marginalizing others, and assuming that you're more important than others and more deserving. Well, that's how I feel. So I'm going to give you this lot." You understand? It's just think we need to think while we have a little window of opportunity called life about where we're going, what our destiny is from here, what we're going to be found worthy and deserving of by our rightful owner. Okay, establish first that you have a little bit of faith and believe, yes, there's an almighty creator God. It's just too weird. I mean, how can you believe otherwise? It'd be too bizarre to believe all this incredible, integral, intricate design just happened just, because it's just a coincidence. It's a fluke. It's over and over and over, and it's repeated. And it's like, it's the stupidest argument in the world. I mean, there's a God, okay? And I learn about that God from Scripture, and I suggest you do too. I mean, don't the smartest people in the world have knowledge of Scripture? What are you going to do? Reject it because somebody, oh, that's you religion. You prescribe it. You know what? If religion's a pejorative, I'm not religious. I refuse that argument. That just because you believe in God that you're religious. Ooh, to what avail? They tried to label Jesus religious, and he knew that they were using it as a pejorative, so that they could put him in a box, and that he would, be fragmented, and that he would only appeal to a certain little niche group instead of, widespread appeal. That, yeah, everybody liked this idea of freedom, the Son of God setting you free, and if he sets you free, you're free indeed. That appeals to everybody, widespread appeal. But the evildoer establishmentarians at the time, they seethed with hatred and wanting to murder him over and over and over because of that. But we can understand it's a big deal to understand, what it's going to take. And knowledge is important. Knowledge is power, and God gives you all the knowledge you can handle. Believe me, and it's all clear as the light of day. Okay, there's no ambiguity in knowing what God's will is for us. It's not hidden. If it was, we couldn't follow it. You can gain wisdom and the power thereof through Him and empower others about the same stuff. I mean, being His friend is not hard. He doesn't make it hard. He makes it easy like a good parent would. And His will for us is the best, not just for us, but for everybody else. And we got to see, what it's going to take. We're in a lot of trouble, man, with these evildoers. How they're working on us financially. It's just financial enslavement, financial tyranny. They're stealing our labors through financial means, satanic means. It's powerful. It's a big deal. The love of money is the root of all the evil. Okay, it's like a false competing God. And we absolutely need God's help to ever hope, to have the tact, the wherewithal, to be as shrewd as serpents and as innocent as doves, to extricate us from this mess. And sometimes it'll take theatrics. Why not? I mean, you need to impress it upon people. Just like when you're trying to impress something upon a child, you might be called on to use theatrics. So it's kind of like a bluff. But ask any gambler, a bluff can be effective. So if God says, yes, act out and get really passionate and just make sure people know, hey, don't try to take me. We'll sit down and do the math over this thing. So if you're ready to sit down and do the math and define the terms that we're using, so we have a meeting of the minds, we can have a productive conversation here, how exactly are you using that term or this term or the next term? Do you understand? That's what we need to do to really be wise and enlightened. Okay, some say, well, you can't, anybody that claims to be wise, they're stupid fools. Well, if you couldn't gain wisdom, okay, then why would anybody ever seek? The fact is you can gain wisdom if you understand it came from God, and it's just clear. I mean, God's always saying, come and swim over here in the clear, clean, cool waters that I provide for you, out of Babylon, out of confusion, out of ignorance. Okay, get out of those muddy, bloodied waters of the establishment that tells you, no, this is the path. This is the way to go. See, all these strings are pulling us. And religion is just a tool for the evildoers. Oh, they want to pigeonhole you, put you on a shelf, stereotype you, and minimize your ability to appeal to the masses. Okay, so I reject the term religion just as Jesus did. Religious. No, I'm logical. I'm reasonable. I'm trying to be intellectual here. I'm trying to be smart. So, we need that tact, that divine tact to approach this thing correctly and to find any kind of relief and to alleviate the suffering, even if it's not yours personally. Remember, it's your fellow. None of us are getting out of this thing. Okay, we're stuck between a rock and a hard spot. We're all in it together. One big family. That's the way God wants to look at it. And if we don't look at it like that, we're not right with Him. Okay. I mean, you take law enforcement. Most cops are decent, upright people in law enforcement, right? We would all agree they're decent. I mean, these people are like angels. They put their lives on the line. It's a dangerous job. It's you understand? So these people would be happy. Most of them would be happy to find another career, right? That they would happy to see crime plummet. And that's the kind of thinking that we need to see is that, hey, you know what? I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And hey, if we see it like that, then we see, hey, our benefits, our welfare are entwined. We're inextricably entwined. Okay, without law and order, what do you have? Lawlessness and disorder. Okay, it's as simple as that. So whom among us can say that's what we want, even though we're not willing to do those jobs? So the least we can do is work toward peace and justice and mercy and all the good things God tells us we should work for. And we're not going to lose our reward. We're going to be rewarded. You're going to be rewarded not just in the future, oh, yes, I get to go to heaven. No, in the here and now, with gladness of heart, peace of mind, right? Because you know that you're a friend to God, and by extension, you're a friend to man. You're doing the right things. You're on the right track. You're going to be found worthy and deserving of inheriting a better realm. And doesn't that satisfy you and gratify you to some degree? Know you're right about stuff. Know you're right in understanding that, hey, if we were all born rich, because it's a thus saith the Lord thing, all born wealthy, very prosperous, and the system could still work because God put in you an innate burning desire to utilize your God-given talents, to be appreciated, to contribute. You understand? So that's the reality. That's the truth. Do you see that as a huge departure from the current one? That people are willing to do those crappy jobs out there. They're hard jobs. They're dangerous jobs, like being a cop or something. I don't want to do it. This whole system, I mean, it's dangerous for these people. Why? It doesn't need to be. Okay, if we just ended desperate poverty, which is the biggest driver of crime, then we would see crime plummet. And the lives of a lot of law enforcement would be spared because of it. We'd see a lot less homicides and a lot less dirty dealings and theft and all the, I mean, it's just an array. It's a plethora of different crimes that people are committing because they're scared, financially scared. I mean, I just saw an episode of Dateline, and this guy was freaked out, man. Freaked out about a few thousand bucks or something, man. And the guy murdered a couple of people, and he would have murdered more. He didn't care. I mean, he just lost his mind over the security that a few bucks could bring him. You were talking about a few $1,000, man. What people do for money, I mean, it's unfathomable to me. But it's there. It's happening. It's real. We're in trouble, my friends. We're in a lot of trouble. We got to bind together as the Lord wants us to and fix our problems with His help. But we've got to confront them. We've got to know our stuff and speak truth to power and say, no, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. We can't. We've got to live with ourselves. We've got a conscience. We've got to exercise not only our rights, but our responsibilities to this generation and the future generations. We've got to clear our hand, wash our hands. We don't want other people's blood on our hands or heads because we didn't speak out, speak truth to power, and everybody else that would listen and try to win friends for God and for man. All right, my friends, let's see. What do I got here? I'm wondering what I should title this video today. Maybe something like, Evidence of a formidable, frothing financial tyranny. You like that? Or how about a $22 trillion national debt in the Tower of Babel? Or let's see, what else do I have here? 21st century civilization. Screw or be screwed? All right, well, I'm going to get on to some recent current events and other talking points real quick. I'm going to try to speak really fast, but I'm trying to limit the amount of time I spend on this video series. You know, last week I was saying sometimes I think that Trump and the rest of the corrupt politicians, well, you know what? I mean, if Trump's corrupt, but listen, I don't know. I don't know everything, okay? But all I know is I don't even believe in the prison system that they should all be put in jail. But listen, I don't believe in jail. It doesn't work. We see high, what do they call it, recidivism, and we know it doesn't work. Generally speaking, this concept of punishment doesn't work. It should be more of a reformation, right? So I believe in ethics rehabilitation centers for every crime. So you get rid of the whole idea of a penal system, punishment, and all that crap, the jail, and treating them people like animals. No, 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 no. I mean, you understand there's fixes for all of our problems. If we think, if we use our God given power to think, we can dig our way out of every hole that we have, all these problems, but we've got to stop it because it's getting worse and worse and worse as I speak. They're expecting the cost of living to keep going up in California because that's the only solution. People have tunnel vision. That's all they can. They don't see anything else. That's the solution for their problem is just raise your cost of living. So they raise the cost for services and commodities because everybody's trying to keep their head above water. So they got to stomp on other people's heads and drown them. So it's become very cutthroat. We're in a lot of trouble. God help us. So we need to live by the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. Because I was last week, don't anyone think I'm poo-pooing the Ten Commandments. That's not my point at all. But to just cling to the new two commandments Jesus gave: love and honor God above all else with our heart, all hearts, whole heart, soul, spirit, mind, and body, and each other as ourselves. Treat others, love each other the way you want to be treated and loved. Okay, the way Jesus proved that He loved and the way He treated us. So it starts in our thoughts. Think about people the way you want to be thought of. Speak about them the way you. And even if maybe sometimes people criticize you and it's valid. I deserve that sometimes, certainly. I can be an a-hole, arrogant, and there's no profit. It doesn't help me at all. It just hurts me. Why would I do it then? Yeah, the good question. Logically speaking, I wouldn't. But I'm trying, at least, with God's help, we can overcome some of these personality defects, character defects, whatever. Last Friday, I got to meet a very special lady. Her name is Ronnie Frostad. She runs this Frostad Atelier bronze casting studio down in North Sacramento. It's only about an hour and a half drive down there from Chico, and it's a nice drive through the country and farms and whatnot. But awesome lady. Got to sit down and talk to her for about an hour about my idea. I've got this cultivating tool I'm trying to get mass produced, and I'm just looking into it at this point. But she's on board with doing some really nice design and updating the design, and I want to cut her in completely with royalties if I can get this thing marketed and produced, marketed, distributed, all that kind of stuff. But it's a retail item. There's no way a long-handled tool, you can't do that online. The postage is just too high. It's like $20 just to mail a long-handled tool. So that's out. Nobody's going to buy it. People go into a retail outlet, hardware stores, such, nurseries, something like that for a tool, cultivating tool. So, but she's working on it. This is a woman that, according to one guy I talked to that works for her, she had manufactured, she built the largest bronze lion in recorded history. I mean that's That's pretty cool. And she's a totally cool lady too. I totally liked her. She's so nice. Oh God. But yeah, that was a great experience. And I was scared, but you pray and God will get you through anything. That's what I do. I don't know how I contend day in and day out. It's with God's help. I mean, that's it. Otherwise, I'd be whacked out of my mind trying to cope in this society. I don't blame anybody. People are stressed out. It's suicides are high. Kids are killing themselves. Everybody's freaked out. I mean, yeah. I mean, everybody can see the writing on the wall, even intuitively, semi-consciously, subconsciously, subliminally. They know. Well, where does this thing end? I mean, this hamster wheel that keeps getting harder and harder to turn. I mean, should I just jump the hell off? And what the hell does that mean? How do I get off this thing? I've got to feed the beast system. I want to